friend of mine, Frank, said that he had trouble hearing the sound on these, but you know what, Frank? It could be just because I'm losing my voice with these allergies and this wind. But I'll do the best I can for you guys. And I meant to get this out sooner, but Rocky's nephew Wheaton, I have Rockster and Wheaton, and having the two of them together, it's like having Rocky back. They both look a lot like Rocky and have very similar attributes to their uncle Rocky. But it's good to have him around. But Wheaton's sick and he's taking 4 medications, so you all keep that in prayer. You know, I've seen God do miracles with people through Jesus Christ, through the Holy Spirit, so I know he could heal animals if he wants to. But anyway, like I said, I meant to get this out sooner, and it is Tuesday, and I told God every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, so here we are. Whether or not that's what he wants or not, I'm too stupid to always hear his voice, so we're just going to do it in faith. And, you know, it's like what I've always told people about, if you don't think you're hearing accurately from God, if you don't believe you could hear his voice, just remember the last thing that he told you and start there. And you know, when I first started preaching back in 2001, I was literally in church pretty much, I want to say 6-7 days a week. We would go to Pastor Jeff and I, we would go to the Bell Shelter, because once Pastor Charles started what is now his church, once that work began, he didn't have time to be at no Bell Shelter anymore, so he didn't have time to be at the Bell Shelter, so he turned it over to us. And you know, I was the first guy there with him preaching. And you know, it's weird because when I do visit the ecclesia now, a lot of the new guys are probably like, who the hell is this guy? Who the hell is Brother Rick? But you know, yeah, I get it, I haven't been around, so how are they going to know who I am? But anyway, there was a time when it was Pastor Charles preaching and myself. And I remember one day Pastor Jeff was setting up the communion elements, and God had already been dealing with him, already been telling him that he was supposed to be preaching. And he said he was cleaning the communion elements, and I said, hey man, I said, you know, you're supposed to be doing this too, right? And he said that was just verification for him. And then he started preaching, and then Brother Joey started preaching. David Panetta was preaching over there. We all were preaching over there. But when it first started out, it was just me and Pastor Charles. And I told you the story how I tried to get out of it. And you told me, you said, you're not getting out of it. God has his hand on you, and you ain't getting out of it. So, yeah, I mean, it's funny, we can run from God, but he's literally waiting for us where we're going before we even get there. It's like that. I preached it years ago in fact, when I preached this, Pastor Dr. Gene Scott had preached the same thing. I don't know what day it was, but I preached this message at the Bell Shelter about how God knows where you're going before you get there. And I said it's like that Twilight Zone, where the one with the hitchhiker, or the dude with the cowboy hat, the lady's driving across country, across the New Jersey Turnpike, going down these different places, and everywhere she goes, there's this dude in a cowboy hat saying, "You going my way?" And she's just freaked out, and she's just trying to get away from this guy. She calls home, and she finds out that she had died in an auto wreck. And she looks in her mirror, and the dude's sitting in the back, and he says, "I believe you're going my way." So it was death. But God's not like death. God is the God of life, the God of the living and not the dead. But I attributed it to that Twilight Zone because everywhere this woman went, this freak in the cowboy hat was there. This hitchhiker, "You going my way?" So we're finally at the end, he said, "I believe you're going my way." It was death coming to claim her. She didn't know she was dead. She didn't know she had died. But when it comes to the things of God, we can run, we could try to hide, but like it said, I believe was it in Proverbs or in the Psalms, Was it David that wrote it? I don't recall, but he said, I think it was David that wrote it, King David. He said, no matter where I go, you're there. I can go to the bottom of the ocean, you're there. I can go to the pit of Sheol, you're there. So he's saying that God was there before he couldn't escape God. Well, God knows where we're going, and he's there waiting for us before we even get there. You know, I probably shouldn't even tell some of these stories, like, because I hear stories. I remember stories that Pastor Charles had told me, told other preachers, told other people in churches, and I remember these stories because I pretty much don't forget anything when it comes to the things of God, and some of these things stick with me. But on the same note, in the same vein of God knowing where we are before we get there, I remember Pastor Charles told me about a time he was working at some club. And he's probably told you all this story, those of you that know him. And those of you that don't, well, I guess this will be a new story for you. But he said some woman walked up to him. He didn't know her. I don't know if she was drunk or high or what, but she looked at him. And she said, "What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. You don't belong here. You could get killed in a place like this." And the Spirit of God told Pastor Charles that that word was for him from God, not from her. So he went in and he quit on the spot. Said, "I quit." And he said the next weekend that the whole place got shot up. And I don't know if someone got killed or got hit, but if he would have been working there in his post where he was normally standing, he would have got lit up. But he heard the voice of God. Now, any other stories, you're going to have to ask him, let him tell them they're his stories. But I tell you these stories because they made an impact to me. I remember these stories. I remember our conversations at the club long before he was a pastor. Back then it was Pastor Charles. Well, he was Brother Charles. He was like my older brother. And it was he wasn't a pastor yet. I wasn't a preacher yet, whatever the heck I am. And Brother Andre was there. And none of us were in ministry. But God had put us together there. And I knew I belonged there. I tell you one thing. I've never made more money any time in my life than when I worked at the club. And, I mean, I worked. I wasn't lazy. I worked hard. You say, "But Brother Rick, it was a club. You were just there having fun." No, I wasn't having fun. It was work. I wasn't messing with the women because suddenly I find out that I'm their connection to God. So I'm working in this club, and I go on a 3-year stint of celibacy and preach to all these women. Didn't know I was a preacher. Didn't want to be a preacher. Didn't dream of being a preacher. But I was one. We can run from God. We could try to quit. We could try to retire. But first of all, a man of God does not retire. He does not quit. He can't quit. He can't retire unless he's dead. That's the retirement plan in God. It's called DEATH, death. No retirement in God. None. You know, I remember Pastor Jeff told some of the younger preachers that we knew back in the day. A lot of these guys, I don't even know if they're in ministry, honestly. Maybe they are. Maybe they're preaching to masses of people. I don't know. A lot of guys that came up with us, I didn't keep track of them. I didn't stay in touch with them. But a lot of people came and went in ministry. And there's a lot of people I've kept in contact with as well, or reconnected with over the years. I've never forgotten the people that have taught me. I've never forgotten the people that poured into me. And it comes out when I preach and teach. If you call that what I'm doing, it comes out. But there's no retirement in God. No way out unless you die. That's it. Unless you die. Doesn't mean you can't backslide or get mad or scurry on waywardly in some wayward ways, if that makes any sense at all, whatever the heck I just said. It doesn't mean that you can't fall away, but you always will come back, because there's no retirement in God. None. People say, well, I was a preacher for 10 years, but I'm not anymore. What the hell is that? Look, I've stopped preaching for quite a while, but I was still a preacher. The Word of God will still come out, whether I want it to or not. Once God calls you, once you're wired that way, it doesn't turn off overnight. It doesn't turn off at all. It's there. It's in there. Just waiting to come out. Waiting to come out. Because we don't retire. We don't quit. The fact that God calls us, that we believe that He is, means that we're His. Period. That's the message for tonight. I guess we'll retire this. I guess we will title this, that there is no retirement in God. All right, guys, have a good night. Be talking to you all on Thursday. I don't know what the heck I just told you. I don't know if anybody got anything out of that, but hopefully you did. God bless you all.